Welcome to this camera rematch, Vivo X100 Pro against Oppo Find X7 Ultra. And I'm going to the zoo right now, so let's get started. Of course, it's the zoo, so it will be a battle of the cameras and their zoom range, as well as their algorithms and how they do processing differently. So here we can see 4.3 times zoom on the Vivo X100 Pro, and we have a little bit more than the 3 times zoom, I think 3.2 times zoom here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. We can check out the specs here. As you can see, we have f2.6, 85 millimeters instead of 63. So if you press the 3x button 2 times, it will crop into this a little bit. So we have it a little bit more comparable here. And we have the 4.3 times zoom on the Vivo X100 Pro, which is 100 millimeters. And this is what you get. You can see 1/100th of a second. And here we have 1/234th of a second, because we have a larger sensor, way more larger sensor on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, though the Vivo X100 Pro has a larger aperture opening there. So when we take a look at the color science, what we can see is clearly warmer colors on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. And it appears to be a little bit more realistic, I have to say, where the Vivo X100 Pro makes it look a little bit more dull. It wasn't so dull, the color here of this, it's in German it's called Trampeltier. It's not a camel, but it's one of those, that looks like a camel. That's like, it's not a science or biology class here, so I will not tell you how the animals are all called, especially as I have to translate it from German to English, which is also something that I didn't have time to do. But what we can clearly see is that it appears to be either sharper or more sharpened up on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. I think it's a tad more sharper. You can also see that we have a bit more punchy colors on the Oppo, especially in the green grass, as you can see here, where the Vivo X100 Pro has it a bit less colorful, also a bit more contrasty look. And you can see a bit more bokeh, I think, on the X100 Pro, but this is like very, very slight difference that we can see here between those two. And then we had something, those little, they're called Erdmännchen in German. I'm not sure how the English translation of those are. Very, very funny little guys here, and they were walking around. And here you can see the Oppo had a little bit difficulty getting them into frame fast enough. So I didn't have the snapshot mode enabled. This would help a little bit more. I think here they were a little more still. And you can see that the Vivo got them. But why I kept this shot in here is what we can see is clearly they're a bit over sharpening on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra in contrast to the Vivo X100 Pro that doesn't do that so much. Then we have another one standing steady. This one was going away there very, very quick, but I got another one also standing there. This is at 10 times zoom. Actually, it's not 10 times zoom on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. You press the 6x button again, it's like 12.3 or 13.2, something like this. So it's a 6x lens it's using. You can see it also as the f-stop number is f4.3 now, and against the Vivo X100 Pro that has a little bit more brighter colors there, but the X100 Pro has a bit of overexposure that you can see there in the background, especially there on the ring of this barrel. And you can see nicely the face of this Erdmännchen. And the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is a bit too dark, maybe a bit less detailed there, especially on the fur that you can see. And this over-processing where we have it sharpened up things a lot there. And let's go to another one, which is the flamingos. And the flamingos, both got the color wrong. For some reason, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra made it red or orangey red, where the Vivo X100 Pro made them a bit more correct, but it was in size mode, by the way, the Vivo X100 Pro, so not in vivid mode. And the Oppo Find X7 Ultra in its default mode. Also the wrong color on the Oppo and the Vivo. In reality a bit more pinkish looking, and for some reason they made them look like wrong in the colors, a little bit too orangey bright looking on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, with also all the processing that you can see there, also at 300 millimeter. And the Vivo X100 Pro I also cropped into 300 millimeter here, but with the 4.3 time lens, and you can see the big difference. It's using the 6x lens here and the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Sometimes you have the issue that it's not using the 6x lens, but only in darker conditions. Here it's using it, but it's not looking too pleasant, I have to say. If you compare this here, I prefer the Vivo, to be completely honest, because this over-processing, especially in the background, is a bit disturbing. It's a bit softer on the Vivo X100 Pro and a bit more realistic there, in my opinion. Let's go to this one here. This is now 3x versus 4.3x. 4.2x on the Vivo. So this little bird here, and you can see it was moving around nice and sharp, and lots of details on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. But the Vivo is no slouch either, as you can see here, very nice and sharp and detailed there. And yeah, if I have to give someone an edge there, I cannot really. It's really very comparable. Look at the legs there as well. All the little details, just a little bit more zoomed in on the Vivo X100 Pro. That's basically it. You can zoom in a little bit more, and this is what I did here. This is now 10x, and yeah, the 13.2x which we have on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. When I zoom in here, you can see nice details again here as well. But which one do you prefer? I think I crop this a little bit more in. You can see they're very comparable again. But when you look around the eyes here, the little fur there, feathers, not fur, you can see, yes, first of all, the colors and the nuances of the colors are more right. It's the same bird on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, where for some reason it is like blending in on the Vivo X100 Pro. So yes, it's a win for the Oppo Find X7 Ultra in this case. Now let's come to the Bear, and yeah, which one I take? I think this one is the best on the Vivo. And this is also taken at 300 on on both there. And yeah, we can see also the shutter speed here and the shutter speed here are almost identical, 276. More warmer colors on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, a bit sharper looking there. It's definitely the sharpening applied there. And when you take a look at this here, the Bear looks very funny, I have to say. We have a bit of a glow going on that usually happens when it's getting a bit softer and not so much processed, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps the contrast pretty high. You can see here also it's raising the shadows there in the background, which the Oppo doesn't do. It was a very sunny, contrasty kind of day, so yeah, both are struggling a little bit with this, but yeah, you be the judge which one you like better. The more HDR-y kind of look on the Vivo X100 Pro that doesn't have so much contrast, or the more contrasty kind of look. I have to say I probably prefer the less contrasty look on the Vivo. And then we had the Gepard as well. And here, if you take a look, he was not moving at all. He was like enjoying the sun bath. And here I think it's a bit more detailed on the Vivo. This here is again 300 millimeters. And I think on the fur around his eyes, you can see it's a bit more processed looking on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. The Find X7 Ultra is using f4.3, so it's using the 6x lens, which is like the weakest lens I think they have there, or sensor that they have there. So it's very close. It's interesting how close the Vivo X100 Pro comes with its 4.3 times zoom there in this 300mm comparison. And but the rest you can see also color-wise, maybe a bit more patchy colors there on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra again, in comparison to the Vivo, but very similar. The slight edge I would give to the Vivo, but you can see also like it's a bit overexposed the fur there that the Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps still intact there. In terms of detail, it's the Vivo X100 Pro, so very close. Then the other Gepard also sleeping there on another little hill. And here again, which one would you choose? I think here the colors of the Vivo are a bit better because the little nuances and the darker color here. And here we have slightly overexposure on the Oppo, so it's fighting back there. Also, this one here has been done at 300mm, so this is one that I use very often. Another bird here, Pelican. At least in German is Pelican. Very large birds. I saw them in comics and so on, but I was not aware that they're so large. But it's also quite far away. Again, 300mm on both. People, next time for the zoo, I have to take really those cameras that have very long zooms, like 5x zooms or something like this, like the Xiaomi. You can see here we have a bit of this glowy kind of feeling that usually comes with like it's reaching its optical limits somehow, but we don't have it so much on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. We have a bit more details, I think, on the Find X7 Ultra. It might be a little bit more sharpening that's applied there. You can see it here on the ground. but it's also heavily sharpening up on the Vivo as well to get this scene somehow right. It is very close. The whites I like a bit better on the Vivo X100 Pro. It's a bit warmer. Yes, the sun was shining on it, but the feathers they are white. Yeah, a little bit more details there on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. So which one takes it here? Again, a bit more shadows, like brightened up, where here it keeps it a little bit darker there on the Oppo. In this case, I have to say, aesthetically more pleasing is the Oppo with this higher contrasty kind of look. Then I also found at the same kind of position there, slightly to the right, but I had to zoom in far more because this little turtle was, yeah, very, very small. So you can see here roughly the same 700mm and 673 to get roughly the same. You can see how much clearer it looks like on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but you can guess what it is. It is like sharpening, over sharpening and things there a lot. But even if I zoom in, I think I have to give it to the Oppo there. It's like if you, the more you zoom in, especially in those higher zooms, then the real optical zoom is like helping there. And processing is also not too bad, I have to say. Again, the color differences there is more yellow. Here it's a bit more, yeah, whitish kind of, a bit more punchy colors, especially with the green here of the little lake. Then we have the monkeys there. Not sure which one is. It's not the orangutan, is it? No, it's not a orangutan, I think. And yeah, I can see details there on Mars, the little fur there, or the little hairs there. It was, of course, shooting against the window there. It's a bit hard. You can see here. You can see also the color differences again. Those, I think, are not the flamingos, are they? Maybe they are. A bit more reddish looking here, and here I think the Oppo Find X7 Ultra again has this orangey kind of tone, but I think I'm not so sure, but I think the Oppo is doing slightly better there with the colors of those here. When I zoom in, you can see much clearer on the Vivo X100 Pro there, where the little details are a little bit like washed out there, and I think it has misfocused somehow on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra somehow. This here has been taken with 300mm again. Like I said, most of the shots 300mm, and there's another one that I took with a little bit more focus there, in focus there, and this is 470mm, so a little bit more zoomed in. I can compare it with this one here, which is 465mm. You can see a lot more details there on first glance, and also when I zoom in, yes, it's getting a bit soft. It's not the best, but you can see the detail level there is amazing for a smartphone camera. And here also it's a bit softer there because the algorithms don't know what to do with the animals usually. And yeah, in general, I think both doing a good, fine job. Like the Oppo, slightly better. Here, again, color difference here, I like the Vivo X100 Pro's color better. It's a bit too warmish on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Another monkey there, sitting there, just to see, you will see much of a difference in terms of like detail levels. And I think on the fur, the little hairs, not much of a difference there. It's very, very comparable, and it's interesting because this one has been also taken with the 4.3 versus the 3x cropped into 3.5x or 3.2x, something like this, which is also interesting. Then we come to another shot here. This shot has been done with the main camera sensors on both. Yes, I said I'm mainly focused on the tele zoom lens, but also took a shot now with the main camera sensor just so we can compare it with each other. And yeah, I had the size colors enabled on the Vivo X100 Pro, and the Oppo Find X7 Ultra had its default profile. And what I see here immediately is we have a bit more bluish kind of sky. And a bit warmish kind of sky here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. You can see the sharpening applied. You can see like how much softer the cloud looks like, how much sharper the cloud looks like there, but also the tree. And I think the Vivo with this little shadow play there with the leaves is a bit better than this like very plain looking, not like so 3D looking kind of shot there. When we go into the middle here, what we can see is again the same color shift, of course, and in terms of detail levels, almost the same, not much of a difference. It's interesting because the Vivo X100 Pro uses an older 1-inch sensor from Sony, where the Find X7 Ultra uses the new one. And yeah, when it comes to the sign and reading the sign, you can read at least the top, maybe even the yellow one there is readable. Yeah, but down below, probably not. So very comparable. More contrasty look on the Vivo X100 Pro, more warmish kind of look, less contrasty look on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. You be the judge on this one here. Then we had also, I think this was one of the Gepards as well, on the other side there, woke up, and this is now 5 times zoom on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra and 10 times zoom, I think, on the Vivo. Just to see the differences in the fur. And here's interesting that the Vivo punches up this colors a little bit there, and it's nice and sharp here at 5 times. I really like it, and astonishing what you can get with those smartphones. Then another bird here. This is now 10 times zoom versus 13.2 times zoom, I think it is, on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Again, how warmer it looks on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, not so realistic in terms of colors because of the punchiness. It's the Vivo X100 Pro that takes the cake here. And also, like a bird, of course, cleaning itself, moving, it's a bit hard to get it sharp there. And I think both very comparable in terms of detail levels. And then we went a bit further and found this here. Also they're sitting in a tropical house, and 300mm on both again. And here I have to say I prefer the Oppo Find X7 Ultra's colors a bit more, because it was a tropical house, and yes, it was a bit warmish, yellowish kind of colors there, because they have to, and the Vivo X100 Pro tries to compensate this and makes it a little bit like less than what it actually was looking like there. And with the together with the raised contrast on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, this looks just a little bit better than the Vivo X100 Pro in terms of colors. But the contrast is partly a little bit too dark, so you can see the eye is much better visible here in where he's looking at on the Vivo X100 Pro. Otherwise, yeah, I cannot really complain. Bokeh is nice and detailed there on both. And yeah, I just like the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It's a more dramatic kind of shot there. I can zoom in here again to see, do we see much of a difference there? Very comparable. It's just the color science that is different and preferential, I think. Then this is like not a vampire and not a bat. This is actually what's called, if you translate it, it's a flying dog. This is how you translate it. Flughund in German. And yeah, I try to, it's like, you can see like there's a pattern kind of in between me and the fence, or the fence and the flying dog there. So very hard to photograph there, and both fail a little bit. I think the Vivo doing slightly better there. Then the elephants. Of course, we have elephants there. Again, I think in terms of color science, again, the Vivo tries to do a little bit too much here, because it is yellow sun, and the yellow sun was shining on the elephants and gave the elephants also a bit more yellowish kind of look, and the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is doing it better there in keeping this, where the Vivo X100 Pro tries to make it white, which is yeah, auto white balance, not the best there. And when it comes to the zoom level, this is 5 times versus 10 times, slight difference there as well, but yeah, you can see the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is of course at 5 times better than the Vivo X100 Pro at 10 times. And then we have the ultra wide shot again, where you can see where the elephants were like located and where I was zooming in onto. So here the elephants that I was photographing before. Quite interesting in terms of colors here. They flip a little bit because we have a much more bluish kind of sky here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra on the ultra wide angle, where it's a bit warmer kind of sky on the Vivo X100 Pro. And when I zoom in here in terms of detail level, both are doing a fine job. What we can see is we have the 15 versus 14 millimeters, so there should be a slight edge on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra when it comes to the whiteness of the shot, and you can clearly see it, yeah, that here the people that are photographing as well are visible, where here it's, yeah, just the kids that are visible there. So yeah, there's a slight edge in terms of this. Otherwise, color-wise, very much the same. A little bit like less contrasty look on the Vivo, where it's a bit more contrasty look on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Otherwise, in terms of detail level, I don't see much of a difference. There's a little baby elephant as well. There's some in the background there as well. And yeah. Towards the side, you can see that it's getting a bit softer on the Vivo X100 Pro. It's also getting a bit softer, but it has like some compensation there in software. It tries to compensate. Yes, it's getting a bit more softer on the Vivo X100 Pro than on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. And then we have the Monkey King. He was sitting like a boss there, looking at all the people, and his family apparently was sleeping on the floor. Behind glass, of course, and yeah, photographing him with the 300mm on both. And here you can see his face and features here as well. Which one is better? Definitely the Vivo. Expression is and detail level is much better there. But as soon as you go down here and so on, you can see, yeah, both have struggled there, but the Vivo maintained a little bit more details, which is quite interesting there. I don't want to zoom in on his crotch, but here, yeah, maybe a bit more processing on the Oppo, helping there with this one. And now we have an owl, and let's check out the owl here. Also, I think this one has been taken at 300mm exactly. I see more details there in the feathers on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It might be a little bit over processed looking there, eventually over sharpening, we know this already, but yeah, slightly bit better there on the Oppo. And then those two birds here also up there. I think we had to like go also to go to 300, 10 times at 300, so it's like 300mm versus 233mm is 10 times at 13.2 something times. You can see how those birds look like. Very nice, and both very detailed, but very comparable there, the 10 times and 13.2 times. I don't see much of a difference there, I have to say. Also in terms of detail level, they're basically on par. So also in terms of colors, for some reason we have a bit of overexposure on the Oppo, trying to raise probably the insides there a little bit more. Also because it's zoomed in a little bit more, tries to raise it a little bit more, but otherwise, like also in terms of colors, maybe a bit more warmer colors and more punchy colors on the Vivo in comparison to the Oppo. Yeah, then this little bird here, and this has been also taken, I think, at 300mm exactly. So here you can see the detail levels on this one. Again, very comparable, more punchy colors, a bit darker there on the Oppo. The Vivo doing a better job there, I think. This has been taken now with the 3x versus the 4.3 times zoom, and here I have to give it to the Oppo. The Oppo manages to get the colors more right and accurate. It's a bit more punchy colors, yes, but the more warmish kind of look is more accurate. Where here the giraffe like almost looks like it has white fur there, but no, because it's like warm and yellow sun, it is more warmish there. So yeah, also like you can see the a little bit more detail level on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but this is just simply because it's like over sharpening a little bit there. Otherwise very comparable, and I have to say, yeah, I like this shot. It looks a bit off for me on the Vivo X100 Pro in terms of colors. And then this has been taken with the 3x versus 4.3x at raw format, so we can check out the raw performance here. Not super raw, ultra raw, how they call it, but the normal raw. You can see the differences in terms of warmth again and outer white balance, because here the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is doing a better job. Simply the Vivo X100 Pro, as if it would not be a sunny day. The sun is yellow, so it has to be a bit more yellow, but it looks here just a bit dull in terms of colors. When we take a look at the detail levels and noise performance, I think both are doing a good job. They should, because it's like very bright there. And yeah, in terms of detail level, basically on par, I have to say. So they have very good lenses. They have very good possibilities to zoom in, and both are doing a fine job here in daylight. What do you think? Which one is your winner? I have to say it's like back and forth, back and forth. Usually I like the colors on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra a bit more, but not always. Sometimes the Vivo gets it a bit more right. Sometimes the Vivo has a bit more details there. Sometimes the Oppo has a bit more details here. The old processing on the Oppo is definitely sharpening things up a little bit more, especially when the 6x zoom lens comes in. It really shows its benefits only when you go very, very past the 300 millimeters, very like 600 millimeters or something like this, where the Vivo X100 Pro still can keep up and sometimes even wins against the Oppo Find X7 Ultra at 300 millimeter, which I used here most often in those zoom shots, in the zoo. So what do you think about this one here? I think I would give this a slight win for the Vivo there in terms of like detail levels. But color science and overall performance, I think the Oppo is doing also a quite good job there. So it's basically the same in terms of those shots here in the zoo. And other criterias, they have to like come in, and they did not retest them here in the zoo. Like portrait mode and such things come in handy here as well. And those are the ones that will favor Oppo for sure, even after all the updates. So yeah, but this is what you can get in terms of performance out of the box in the zoo here. And yeah, what do you think about this one here? Video test number 1. Rod external mic. Let's go into 4.3 times zoom. Flamingos. And back to the ultra wide angle. Yeah, my daughter's with me as well. Video test number 1. Rod external mic. Let's go into 4.3 times zoom. Flamingos. And back to the ultra wide angle. Yeah, my daughter's with me as well. Another video zoom test using the X100 Pro, and now we are filming the marabous. There are a few. 1 times, 2 times, 4.3 times. And let's zoom a bit further, up to 10 times here on the X100 Pro. What do you think? Good thing that they're not moving so much. This is 0.6 times now on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. 1 times, 2 times, then we have the 3x lens. We can go to 6x, and of course we can zoom in a bit further. This is already 10 times, as you see, but we can zoom in even further, up to 18 times. Wonderful. What do you think? And now in the aquarium with the kind of dim lit or nighttime situation video test here on the Vivo X100 Pro. I have my microphone attached because it's full of people, as you might see there. Full of people here in the aquarium. And yeah, we have some bright spots, we have some lower light spots. In general, it's very, very dim lit here. So what do you think about the Vivo X100 Pro's main camera sensor? And now the Vivo, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, of course, not the Vivo X100 Pro. And yeah, the same 1-inch sensor, same situation, same kind of way to show you what's going on here with the aquarium. Same 1-inch type sensor, though this is the Lithia or Lit 900 sensor, so a newer sensor here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. What do you think about this one here? Let's take a look at the dim lit situation photos. I don't have nighttime situation photos here. We were in the aquarium here as well, directly next to the zoo. And if you buy the tickets here in Cologne Zoo, you also are allowed to go into the aquarium. And of course, there are the shots with the main camera sensor. What you can see is the same that we had with the tele-zooms and main camera sensor outside in the zoo. More yellow, warmish kind of colors on the Oppo. Cooled down colors on the Vivo X100 Pro. What I noticed here photographing through the glass is that the Oppo Find X7 Ultra didn't have any issues with focusing, where the Vivo X100 Pro occasionally was misfocusing on focusing on the background more than on the fishes here in the foreground, which is a bit of a bummer. Otherwise, in terms of detail level, basically identical. The fishes are moving all around. Of course, even if I take the shots very quickly, one after another, you can clearly see that it's hard to find the right fishes there. But yeah, very comparable here. Also, this has been taken with the 172 millimeter or 72-100, and 100 looks very fantastic. Also the detail level here, as you can see, very sharp. You can see every little detail of this fish here, which is quite nice. So for the aquarium, it does make a lot of sense to zoom in there. And also the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, not so bad, not so far off. Same fish here, a bit more punchy colors there for sure, which makes the fish look a little bit more punchy, more colorful than on the Vivo X100 Pro. But in general, very good. Also the tele zoom lenses there. Here I tried to get this fish 10 times zoom, but it was only 5 times on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Or was it 6 times? I don't know. And there you can see, very detailed both again. Very nice indeed. And here a shot with the main camera sensor, just to see the differences. And here it's quite interesting because I think you can see we have a bit of warmer colors on the Vivo X100 Pro and slightly overexposure, I would say, where a bit more contrasty kind of look and a bit more greenish kind of look here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. This tells me that it got the colors more right. What you can also see here, both using the night mode apparently, the blur here on the text there, what is it, a trash bin I think, is a bit more apparent on the Vivo X100 Pro, so the stitching was not 100% there. Also here again, it's a bit too warm, too yellowish on the Vivo X100 Pro in this night mode situation, where it's a bit more greenish there, which is more correct. And here in the back, you can also see slightly overexposure there on the Vivo X100 Pro, where we have all around a bit more greenish here, which is realistic, where here it tries to even this out on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Let's take another shot here. This shot has been taken with the main camera sensors on both. Both very fantastic, very similar. You look at the detail levels there, you can clearly see the detail level is fantastic, but the bokeh and the detail level there on the Vivo X100 Pro is another level there, I would say. So the 3D kind of view that you get there is a bit better there. And the fish both failed to focus on the fish, as you can see here. They were focusing on the flower in the foreground. And another one, this has been taken also with the 23mm one. And we can take a look at the fish here. You can see again a bit more punchy colors on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, and the rest looks almost the same, not much of a difference. A bit warmer colors as well on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. You can see it here with the sand, it's a bit warmer. In terms of detail level, it's identical. Here as well, nice little fish. It's a bit blurry on the Vivo, maybe it has some focusing issues again. Look at this, it's like also a bit more punchy color and greenish kind of color on the Oppo. Fringing, definitely on the Oppo. And another one, this one has been taken at 72 and 100, so 3x versus 4.3x. You can see, yes, problems on the Oppo with focusing, but the Vivo also missed this one. And in terms of colors, also the both somehow weird. This is like greenish, like the Vivo, and here it's a bit more bluish, where the Oppo I think is a bit more right. The Vivo is making everything a bit too green for some reason. And then we have a DNG. Yes, we have a raw shot here as well of this aquarium there with the 1x lens. So yes, 23mm on both. And DNG shot. What you can see here is that again the Vivo X100 Pro for some reason is way too warm and yellowish, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has this at least covered in terms of colors. When we zoom in, what we can also see is that way too warm and yellowish on the Vivo X100 Pro. It's overexposed as well there, a little bit there. Where here, there's also a bit of overexposure, but that's I think a bit better the raw file on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Nothing that you can really nothing that really stands out as something that you cannot correct on the Vivo X100 Pro, but by default what you get with this RAW file is more usable on the Oppo than on the Vivo in this regard. And yeah, this is what I see here in terms of noise level and so on, noise floor and so on. I don't see much of a difference. Maybe slightly bit more noise on the Vivo there. It's the older sensor, yeah. Look here, compare it with here. Maybe a bit more noise there than on the Oppo, but it's very, very hard to see the difference between those two. Oh, there's a fish hiding there as well. Didn't notice that when I was photographing it. And yeah, can we read what's there on the left? Text. I have to zoom in a bit further, over 100%. Yes, it is readable. There's color noise going on the Vivo X100 Pro. There's not so much color noise going on the Oppo. So I think the Oppo handles noise levels a little bit better there than the Vivo. And it has to be if you go and pixel peep so much, because like the sensor is just a bit of a newer sensor on the Oppo. But I'm surprised that the color science is better handled here in this RAW file on the Oppo in comparison to the Vivo X100 Pro. So these are the pics in the dark or dim lit kind of situation. Here I think overall the lead I would give more Oppo than Vivo, which is interesting because I think in my earlier first and second comparison the Oppo was a bit weaker than the Vivo, but in this situation here in the Aquarium I think the Oppo nails it in terms of colors, sharpness, focusing, which is something that the Vivo had issues with in comparison to the Oppo. But yeah, this is it in terms of those dim lit shots. Which one is your favorite? So let's check out the videos. I didn't do much videos of myself there, but let's check out the first videos here. Do we see any differences there? There with the main camera sensor on both. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra has a bit less, yeah, contrasty look. The Vivo X100 Pro is much more contrast. Look at this down there where the shadows are, much more contrast and also more punchiness in terms of colors. The blue are much more vibrant there than on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. And when you take a look at the flamingos, it's the same. Look at this more pinkish kind of more realistic look that the flamingos really had against the Vivo X100 Pro that look a bit more, yeah, towards red there, especially like as you can see there. So yeah, in terms of when you just play it back there and zoom in a bit, you can see zoom switching lenses is very, very smooth here. But on the Vivo X100 Pro, it's no slouch either. The newest update really brought them very, very close together when it comes to zoom switching. You can see how smooth this zoom switch is. This is now 2x, but even if we go to 4.3x, which we now reached here, and on the Oppo we go to 6x there, you can see it's very, very smooth on both. But you can see here again there's more vibrancy that we have on the Vivo X100 Pro, which is not realistic. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps the colors a bit more realistic here in video, and this is not only true for this video but also for the other video that I took here. So let's check this out here very quickly. You can also see that we have again a bit more punched up colors, more, yeah, oomph in the colors on the Vivo X100 Pro, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps it a bit more realistic. Sometimes even a bit overblown, as you can see here. This part seems to be a bit overblown there, where the Vivo X100 Pro, thanks to its more contrasty kind of look that it also adds there, seems less overblown there. But more realistic, again, even if I play it back. Is it playing back? One of those is playing back now, the Vivo X100 Pro, and the zoom there. You can see, first of all, stabilization is working fine on it, and the zoom is also working very nicely, very smooth. You almost don't see the transition to the other lens. What's there with the... There we go. I think it should play back now. There we go. One time it zooms in. Also very realistic and very, very smooth in terms of zoom in. Here you don't even notice so much the switching. So even a little bit better there on the Oppo, I would say, than on the Vivo. That even I can like zoom in a little bit more there. You can see in terms of detail retrieval, the Vivo is sharpening a lot more up there, but from afar it looks like a bit sharper there. This is what you get with the Vivo, and this is what you get with the Oppo. The Oppo is not always like using the 6x lens, but with this one it is using. It's a bit softer there, but I can get a bit closer there up as well
on the Oppo. I prefer the Oppo in this case there because of the much more realistic colors here. And then the low light video comparison, I can also show it to you. This is where you can see myself there as well with the low light. You can see that on first glance already, it's a bit sharper here on the Vivo. The colors are more realistic. Yes, it's a bit red, but I was standing there in front of a red light basically, where the Vivo has a little bit overblown highlights there in the background with the, just like with the Oppo, but it's much softer there and it stays much softer there. And yeah, this is something that when I'm moving around is a bit of a problem there. With the Vivo, however, if I move around, it occasionally also has this softness, but stays much stronger there when I move around. It's here, this like, and even if I zoom in on something there, you can also see that the Oppo keeps it fairly stable and sharp, where the Vivo has a little bit of like this motion blur, a lot of motion blur going on, as you can see there. When I swing around there, it doesn't look so pleasant there in comparison to the Oppo. So yes, this win goes to the Oppo, but keep in mind that yeah, the Vivo could easily upgrade this in terms of firmware, that they will probably do so as well. So what do they mean for the ranking? The overall ranking did not change. I was checking out everything there, but both basically in those categories where they were good improved a little bit, so they stay at the same kind of level. I did check most of the time the zoom camera photo quality, and yes, the zoom camera photo quality basically on both is very equal. Sometimes the Vivo X100 Pro is a little bit better, sometimes the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is a little bit better. The Vivo tends to do a little bit better when it comes to these zooms up until 10 times, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra goes like to 300 millimeters, then it's very comparable to the Vivo X100 Pro. Maybe the X100 Pro sometimes a little bit better there, but when it goes beyond 300 millimeters, so if you go to 600 millimeters, for example, the turtle that I took the shot of, then the Vivo X100 Pro falls apart. So otherwise I would rank them the same in terms of zoom camera photo quality, but for this one reason alone, we get 0.1 points more on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra when it comes to more kind of zooms. Then the other thing, or 0.05 points. The other thing where it wins is still portraits. I didn't check portrait out in this rematch kind of video, but nothing much has changed between those two. I can assure you this, the portraits kind of soft on the Vivo X100 Pro still, even though the lens is very sharp for sure. Main camera sensor equal. Not much of a difference. IMX989, Lit 900. Lit 900 in theory has a little bit of better kind of shots here and there, especially when it comes to the nighttime kind of shots or darker kind of shots. I think the Lit is like a little bit better, but it's so less far apart in between those that I would say the same. Ultra wide angle, however, is a win for the Vivo X100 Pro. For photos for sure. Video recording quality is a win for the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. You don't notice that so much in daylight, but again, the Vivo X100 Pro as daylight shot is a bit too punchy colors and a bit too much contrast added, and especially on skin colors like I showed before, this makes a difference there, and the Oppo looks much more natural. But in this rematch kind of video, we only saw that we have a bit of more contrast added on the Vivo X100 Pro, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has a little bit more natural kind of color rendition all over the place. However, at night times or dark dim lit situation, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is beating the Vivo X100 Pro. The Vivo X100 Pro is very smeary, and the Oppo smearing the video, basically the quality is very soft sometimes, and the Oppo is doing better there in this situation at least. Autofocus performance is the same. Front camera performance, I'm not even sure I tested this out in this rematch video, but it still stays the same. Camera UI, however, is a win for the Vivo X100 Pro. It's way better in terms of what you can do all in the camera settings and what is reachable with one hand. Where the Oppo is still lacking there in this regard, especially like pro modes or something like this for video, which the Vivo X100 Pro has. This is also why the extra features there are much better on the Vivo X100 Pro. You get a little bit more there. Nevertheless, we still say at the same kind of points, 4.535 on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra and Vivo X100 Pro, 4.495 points. So nothing much has changed there. I let them be here. I could like raise them, like the zoom level and the video level maybe, but it doesn't really make much sense. Both are very, very good when it comes to this right now. And the video recording quality, I think the zoom switching is much more natural now on the Vivo X100 Pro, but where it loses is lower light video with the IMX909 and also the colors. And this is why we don't get a bigger raise there on the video recording quality of the Vivo X100 Pro. But lo and behold, the ranking list looks like this. Oppo Find X7 Ultra still on number 1 and Vivo X100 Pro on number 2. But lo and behold, I heard and just got, after this video finished, a confirmation that there's a new update coming for the Vivo X100 Pro that I couldn't test, obviously, because I just heard about it. It is coming. I checked immediately on my device. It's not there yet. But of course, I will do another video regarding this new update. This is like over a gigabyte update that should improve the video capabilities, the zoom even further on the Vivo X100 Pro. And I'm very excited to see this all like foreshadowing or in the shadow of the Vivo X100 Ultra that is like coming out later this month. Hopefully this video is out when this, hopefully the video is out before the Ultra is out. Just so that you know that there's another update coming. Probably I will do another video. Not sure if I've been able to do another comparison between the Oppo Find X7 Ultra and Vivo X100 Pro so far, so fast. But that's it. First of this video. If you have some comments, questions and so on, you can write them down in the comment section. Until the next time. And please don't forget to donate, because donations are quite spare, getting quite spare these times. And YouTube money in terms of advertisements is like going downhill, like 60% less income. And I need a little bit of money to buy those devices and do those tests. Otherwise, it will be a hard time doing those tests and all the time that I spent doing these tests as well. So like, subscribe, recommend this channel eventually as well to your friends and families if they're interested in cameras, smartphone camera, photography and so on. But also smartphones, it's in general, the smartphone usage. So you will see that I have a new ranking list for smartphones as well. There are only 2 smartphones right now because I checked only 2 smartphones and categorized them. But the Vivo X100 Pro will land on this list as well pretty soon. So that's it now. Until the next time. Bye.